Yoshiro was telling her, dogs heal people, and he's right. They do.
Yeah. I absolutely. This is another thing that, to me, was a very subtle way of the author starting to build the bridge to family. Like, she is so very skilled in how she lays out the threads in this story that it's literally fascinating to not just read it, but to listen to it. But you take a child who's 8 and has been mute for the last 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, and she's been, with her mom, with her dad. Her mom has been doing her best to nurture her kids, protect her kids, prepare her kids for what's to come. And the first word that she says is dogs. And her mom honestly didn't believe it at first because the kids heard it, but mom didn't hear it. And she's like, "Are you sure? Like, Papa said something?" Like, yeah. Like, she's really not sure about it.
Didn't she say, wait, did she just speak? Like, she wasn't sure because it'd been so long.
But I think it was the kids that said, Poppy said something. I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, somebody heard Poppy say something, and they were questioning if they really heard it. And so I was like, wow. Like, that was that very subtle, daddy's here in scene 1, and then dogs in scene 3. I mean, just these very subtle transitions as she starts laying out this story before us. So Lisa, I'll start with you. So what do you think about their time in the house together?
Their time in the house was so cute to me. The kids were like, for some reason, those kids just automatically felt safe with Yoshiro. They were eating and, hanging out and doing. They just felt like kids again, instead of being on alert and, is Daddy coming to get us? They're all relaxed and happy until, and Ebony got stressed one day when she was asking them questions, and then the kids started getting stressed. Oh, should we not be happy? Should we not, be
like
around
they're
him?
on alert.
And then she's like, oh, no, it's fine. I was just asking. And she's like, oh, okay. The kids, I love the dynamic with the kids and the dogs, and they were just so relaxed, and the fact that they were able to be children again. I love that.
Me too. Me too, especially at Christmas time. I don't know, it's something about kids being unhappy and without at Christmas that I think tugs at our heartstrings. And to see that snatched away, like at the very beginning of the book, like to see that snatched away. And I think it's Ebony who actually says, can we not just have one Christmas?
Right.
When everything is okay, like just this one time. So it tells you, like, these kids, like, they may not have had a good Christmas, like, period. Yeah. Go ahead, Michele.
Well, I was taken aback by the fact that this book opens with them about to decorate their Christmas tree. And it's that sense of we are going to attempt normalcy. And then you get the feeling that it's like once again, this was an attempt to create a Christmas for the kids. And once again, this was going to be ruined. And I think she even makes a reference to the fact that it's been ruined every Christmas for the last 3 years. So, and it's interesting because their Christmas has been ruined, and then here comes the symbolism of them literally being stuck in a winter wonderland. And they are surrounded by all the things that little children hope for at Christmas. They hope for a white Christmas. Kids want a pet for Christmas. Kids want to live. They want to stay in a big house. They want unlimited food and treats. They want unlimited access to playtime. They want to not have to deal with school. I mean, think about if you could almost tap down your list of all the things that little kids hope for at Christmas time, and we are right smack dab in the middle of them. And then I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that this happens, because this happens early in the book, but we even have a scene out of a Christmas type story where the children are in an attic pulling out toys, pulling out sleds, pulling out games, pulling out this is children's winter wonderland right up in front. And it's even more so made that because there's a point when our heroine physically falls asleep for an extended period of time and the children are at play. It's very symbolic. I don't know necessarily that the author was going for that, but that is completely what she created. She created the Christmas of children's dreams simply in the setting of how she created the story, the house where they end up, the things that are left behind by the previous owner, the opportunity to play at will, no school, no worry. I mean, it's a child's winter wonderland. It's all the things that we prayed for as children for a Christmas break. It was all of that. And I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was Mama's winter wonderland, too, Christmas dreams of the stranger and being did we not talk about this last time? Did we love a story where our hero and heroine are stuck together in snow?
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely it. So I have to ask, do you all have any questions? Did you all have questions that you want to discuss? I know Michele does. Lisa?
You go, Lisa. You go first.
You go, Michele.
Okay. So we're not going to spoil anything. We're going to try not to spoil too much of this story. But there are some decisions that the hero and heroine make together in relation to getting rid or moving our heroine past her past. I struggled with some of the decisions because for me, while I understood them, I was concerned about I know this is so crazy to say, I was concerned about my heroine's mental state for the future after this story. And I'm curious, since you guys know what I'm talking about without me actually saying it, were you concerned about the lengths at which the heroine had to go and whether or not those lengths would impact her and the children later? There. Did I say it right without giving anything away?
Yeah. So what I will say, just to clarify, there comes a point in the story where Yoshiro very much wants Ebony and the kids to stay. And not only does he have a main house on the property, he has another house, and he offers it to them, and he wants them to stay. But you all know how this woman came onto the scene. She's on the run. And so in Yoshiro's mind, like, I need to eliminate the factor that's making you run. Like, I can take care of that variable for you. And he's very serious about it. So I need to just lay that out there. Like, he does not want her to go anywhere. He wants the kids there with him, and he is willing to do what's necessary to make sure that they have a home. So, Lisa, you go ahead and respond from there. I'll just say that.
Absolutely. I was not concerned for her mental capacity. It was actually therapy for her. But that's just my twisted mind. Because earlier in the book, she says that she's going to do it. She's going to find that place in her, and she's going to do it. And she does. And I absolutely think that if she hadn't been involved in the actual act, it would have haunted her more if she wasn't involved. So.
Michele, go ahead.
That's just me.
I'm just curious about what you guys, I don't know. I had certain concerns about, there's one thing to do it. There's another thing to, we acknowledge the things that hurt us. And in acknowledging the things that hurt us, we get power over them, right? Is there a loss of power in not acknowledging the things that we do to deal with our demons? Is that a good way to say it? Look at that. I'm like,
so I don't know. And, so Michele and I was talking about this offline, and because I didn't want to start a big fight, I actually said I got to go and set up for this because I'm going to tell you something, and I could be wrong for this, so don't nobody go writing nothing in the chat on Women on Words after this is over. But what I'm going to say for me is so often through the years, I have heard women, regardless of color or socioeconomic background, who say, if a man puts their hand on me, y'all get my bail money or y'all get ready because I'm going to kill him. And in this case with this character, we see what this woman has been through with this man. And so when she takes the actions that she takes, I will be honest with you, I did not have a problem with it. I honestly felt like she was suffering from PTSD. She's having nightmares. Her kids have nightmares. And honestly, when she went to sleep and slept, I was like, good for you, Ebony. Good for you. Because why should I be traumatized when I have taken the actions to regain my power in my life? Why do I have to embrace that something's wrong with my mental health and that I'm going to fall apart because I righted a wrong that I gave the system, family, friends, everybody the opportunity to help me with, and no one did. So why do I need to embrace something's wrong with my mental health, or I need to fall apart at this point if I haven't fallen apart when I was going through this and getting my eye book it all up and my kids punched in the chest?
Yeah.
That's just.
I agree,
Yeah.
Siera. Absolutely agree. The fact that the man was relentless and he was never going to leave them alone, never going to back off, even in the moment when it was happening, you could tell if she changed her mind, he was going to come back after her. So she had no real choice. She was a mama bear. She needed to protect her babies, and she knew, hey, if I don't, we're going to be running forever.
Yeah.
It was time. And Kia was getting way too old, and she knew way too much about the situation where it was going to start affecting her relationships with men in the future. So that to me also was a way that mother was protecting the babies.
Yeah. The other thing that I appreciate that this author did with this story, because you bring up a very real point, like her kids are living this with her. Like this isn't just her; these are her kids. But I love that, given the opportunity, putting her kids in a healthier situation by deciding to stay there with Yoshiro, at least for the time being, that you see these kids transition away from this kind of fight or flight like scenario and take on more age-appropriate behaviors. And the author tries to show us that these kids are redeemable themselves by showing Kia doing her school project. Like, Yoshiro, can I ask you questions about, like, boys and girls and relationships? Like, she's trying to figure this out for herself, right? Like, she's writing her paper on what it should be like how a man should treat a woman. So I love that the author has all these little subtleties to show us these kids had the potential to be healthy. Because the assumption is with what we saw early on, like, yeah, these kids all messed up and they're all wrapped up in this thing. That one that don't talk, one that got her own stun gun, you know, the other one got his bagpipe ready to go. I mean, these are all things that
and
just
fascinated with
normal. Right, they're just
no!
not.
How about the scene when the next morning after they get there and Yoshiro takes her down the hill to the other house, and the children show up, and Kira got a gun in her hand. She got a gun. She's like, "You okay, Mom?" She's like, ready to go. She's like, "You okay, Mom?"
We ain't know where you
like,
took you.
okay. These children are at war, and
How about
That's what
Jalen?
you should have said.
Jalen wanted a gun. He's the only boy.
He did want a gun, right?
He wanted
But
a gun.
I'm glad.
Gun.
I was so glad that, you know, closer to the end, they showed where Yoshiro took him out and showed him how to actually use the gun, how to properly handle it, because kids don't know that. And if you don't show the kids and